Well, welcome, guys. Thank you for hanging out. We just finished up a little session right there for recording some horns.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Thank you for that again.
Thanks for having us.
No worries.
Our pleasure.
How you guys been? It's been a pretty crazy few months for you guys since we
Oh
talked
yeah,
about
totally.
this.
Yeah, we've been really busy, just doing a bunch of stuff, sitting in with people. I mean, that's just our usual rotation of gigs as we go to whatever jam sessions we can find, whatever, and then from there we just have gigs like that.
Yeah, it's just like gigs on gigs on gigs and gigs.
You try to sleep every once in a while.
Not
no.
really.
I mean, I'm looking at Alex over here. He just got back from the road to Cazet run.
Yep.
Like less than 12 hours ago, actually.
Yeah, how long were you going for?
We were gone.
Good job.
We
How long were you
left
gone for?
left on Thursday. Got back this morning at 7 a.m.
Damn. That's the way it is, dude.
Nothing like rolling in with the sun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, that's Tyler's job.
Yeah.
Is making these witty quips.
Just
It was
while
a
the
great
sun comes up. No, but
great Kessel run.
Oh,
boo.
Did you do it in
Thank
less
you.
than 12 parsecs?
Wait,
you
Shut
can wait
up, shut
outside
up, shut
now.
up,
You
just
can
shut
I'm
wait-
gonna do whatever I want, man.
So, all right. So you guys, I mean, it's been like since I've known you guys. It's like every show I go to, the joke is like every show I'll see you guys. You're bringing the horns, you're playing and stuff like that. How did that start for all you guys? Like wanting to, because I know you guys. Some of you did you all go to music school?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, at CU Boulder.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
was it always something you were like, this is the type of playing I wanted to do, or did you want to be more? Did you always want to be in like rock, funk, jam band kind of stuff that you've been doing more often than not?
Well, for me, this is Matt, by the way. It like I actually started out on the pipe organ when I was in like fourth
Really?
grade. Yeah, and
How do you get
like,
started on the pipe organ? Church?
basically
Our mother.
you suck so bad at sports that like the only thing left is music.
It's the pipe organ is to protect you from like people beating you up.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
away!
Yeah, so I did that for about like 5 years, and like at that point in time, I really wanted to be like as famous as like a organ like touring soloist can be, and
Do you
like
still play
that-
the organ sometimes?
Oh no! I suck something fierce at it. I mean, I still kind of mess around on like keyboards every once in a
Yeah.
while, but it's only to help out like what I do on horn and stuff like that. And it's really never in public. And there's a good reason for that. Yeah, I mean, I started playing with the Technicolor Tone Factory, like I think 6 years ago now. Like my very first show with them actually
Damn, that's
was.
a name from the past.
Yeah, I know. That's back when Brian Boster was in the band too.
Oh, yeah, that's really.
Yeah, that's like the very first iteration. I think this was like a year after the band formed. And my very first like actual gig was the Boulder Theater for St. Patty's Day 6 years ago. So yeah.
Wow.
And that horn that I have now, it was brand new at that time too. That was like my second day ever playing it, and it was awesome.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Man.
What about you guys? What's your guys' origin story, if you will?
Well, for me, I'm actually more of a classically trained trombonist.
That's Mark, by the way.
Yeah, it's me, Mark. If you couldn't tell by the trombone.
For the people
It's
listening
just-
at home. Ooh.
Alex the trombonist.
It's all yours. Give me your sax. No, but I was classically trained for a long time. I was actually in sports originally, but an injury took my left kidney.
What
and,
sport?
Soccer.
Wait. Hold. An injury took your left kidney.
Oh yeah, no, he's missing an organ.
Yep. Straight up.
What happened?
So I was playing a couple games. One game I got tripped while I was going up the field, landed on my side really hard. And then a couple games later, it was starting to get better, but I was waiting for a free throw from the sidelines, and this kid elbows me in the exact same place, and that was the end of it. So after the surgery, I couldn't play sports anymore. I mean, I still love sports, go Browns, but
I'm sorry, dude.
Oh come on! The first time
I'm
that you have a
just-
public interview and you say "Go Browns," no.
Yes, I'm always going to rep the Browns. But anyways, so I couldn't play sports anymore, and Matt was in music, so my parents shacked me up with a trombone, and I started getting really, really into that. And
But it was originally like classical.
yeah, I was originally a classical trombonist with like some interest in jazz, but when I got to college and I started to like get more and more involved in that scene, I didn't like it as much. So actually, I remember this. I was working at a Staples, and I was doing the
Gestapels.
So
That place sucks so bad.
it really does, especially if you're an employee. So
Get a great polo shirt out of it though.
Well, yeah, actually, I got a couple good polo shirts out of that, but and not many good memories. But anyways, I was sitting there taking the new employee stuff, and Matt hits me up. Is like, "Hey, want to play Beanstalk, like with the beans?" Like, yeah, I do want to do that. So I did that, and then as soon as I turned 21, I started to I started to do
Drink.
Just drink profusely. Woke up
Just
in
drinking your
Idaho.
feelings away. Just
So I was waking up with the shakes like everyone of my age.
yeah,
No,
I got
it
a
was-
bottle
it
of
was to
Listerine
fend
just
off
to
the
stave
shakes.
off the shakes.
Yeah, I know.
But
Hey, do you know you can wash? You can your breath smells great after this too.
yeah, but then as things went on, as soon as I turned 21, I started hitting up the Lazy Dog, and things just kind of snowballed from there.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the lazy dog is kind of like the root of like this whole thing.
the root
Yeah,
of
yeah.
all evil.
Yeah.
So Alex, trombone.
My
It's your turn.
Oh God. Yeah, I started playing sax in 5th grade. Got really into jazz in high school. I thought I was going to study that in school, but I ended up going to a classical program as well, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with music. But my thing has always been like, as long as I'm playing the saxophone, I'm happy. Got out of school while I was in school, actually, I started playing music with Paco, which is like an Afrobeat, like jazz fusion project. Did that for a year, then was in a reggae band, which I'm still in. Actually, that's my longest standing project. So I thought I was going to be in like, that kind of music. And then I guess I branched out and done pretty much everything.
Thank God you didn't like dread your hair or anything like that.
Yeah, thank
Just go
God.
full on.
No, just hey mom, look at me now. Like, here's what my college degree is. Yeah. No.
Making it all worthwhile.
Yes, but yeah, for me, it's like just trying to develop a sound that can work over any style, basically.
Well, I mean, seeing the way with all the people you guys gig, I mean,
Mm.
that's you're pretty good at that. I mean, I've
Thanks.
seen you all play with literally I've seen you guys play with bluegrass bands, and you don't really see like horn section. No one's like, you know what that bluegrass song needs? A trombone.
Everything
It's
needs
what
a
every
trombone.
bluegrass song is really crying out for.
But
Yeah.
I didn't start playing like rock or funk or any of that stuff till I met Matt and Mark, and we started doing.
Yeah,
that
we
kinda
kind of
stuff.
dragged him into a kick.
I was
Just
like
like
yeah.
Lazy Dog jams
Yeah.
and stuff like that. You guys.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it was actually Lady and the Gentleman.
It
Like,
was,
you
yeah.
remember that, right? Like
Yeah.
When, yeah. So
And I tried to figure. No, I'm just kidding.
That's where the drinking profusely comes in.
yeah, with so this is with Lady and the Gentleman. Like when we first started out, it
This was like
started
2 years ago.
It
Actually,
was,
about a year
it was
year
like
ago.
3.
3
No,
years ago.
well, when you guys started playing. Oh, okay. I see. What
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, it was about 3 years ago. Like that band started as like a Lazy Dog Jam kind of like conglomerate thing.
Oh yeah,
Or,
I
like,
mean, it
we
was
just
like the
wanted-
all-star cast of the Lazy Dog Jam.
Yeah, exactly. And then like we figured that like if we put a band together, then we could get a gig at the Lazy Dog every once in a while, and then like that's kind of the story. Originally we had Leo Facenda, and if you're listening out there, what's up, dude? He ended up moving to Fort Collins. I think he lives in Gun Barrel now, but he moved up to Fort Collins to work at a distillery, so we needed a new sax player. We actually went, like the entire band went to Owsley's to like check out this other sax player that was like playing a gig there.
Jeez, Owsley's.
Yeah.
That place.
Oh my
And
god.
I decided to go out that night too randomly, just because it was Eminence Ensemble. They were about to go on tour, and I was just like, wasn't doing anything, so I was like, oh, I'll check out this show.
Didn't you used to play with Eminence Ensemble too?
Yes, that was like the second band I
You
was
played
ever
with
in.
Eminence Ensemble.
Yeah, in the first starting out, so like 2011 when the band was just getting started, I played their very first show. I was playing synth and saxophone at the Root on the hill in Boulder. And I
Synthophone.
played like the Fox with them a couple times. And then like, I don't know, I dropped Paco's band and Eminence because of like too much pressure from school. I wasn't like cutting it, so I had to focus on getting my degree.
That's kind of funny that
Yeah.
music school, they're like, you need to stop playing. and go to music school. But it's like, well, why don't I play
I don't know. I don't know if I made the right choice.
Yeah,
but
I
at least,
ended
I
up
got
doing
my
the same
degree.
thing too.
Yeah,
so.
we all got the brunt of that.
But yeah,
I
those
mean,
were
I got a
like-
degree in German, so I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's all useful.
You got a degree in German?
Yeah, I speak
all right,
German.
Ergwin.
Really?
Whatever. It's like people usually say it. I've never heard that one before.
Aragorn.
Ergwin.
But yeah, so
Sorry, it
but
just
like
registered.
It was great.
yeah, me and Justin and Zach were all neighbors in the dorm freshman year of college, so that's how that relationship
Dorm
started.
life.
Yeah,
I remember I used to said like weird flashbacks.
I feel like there's stories behind that.
Oh, yeah.
statement.
I remember we used to jam. We used to have like our own like open jam in the dorms, which consisted of me on like this electric drum set that we plugged into like the sound system in my room. At one point, like the RA from 3 floors down comes up. She's like, "By the way, you sound great, but everyone hates you right now." Like everyone.
Oh, I would get that plenty of times when I was practicing in the dorm room, and people would just be like banging on my wall.
Why
to
would you
stop
practice in the dorms when you had access to the music school 24/7?
Because I didn't want to leave my room.
Well, and also, you
You
know
wanna
as well
leave
as
your
anybody
room?
that there's never any
no,
practice
I
rooms.
didn't want to.
That's
Yeah.
true. I
Yeah.
guess.
I was comfy.
Oh yeah.
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 So I mean, so that was you guys met as a unit with Lady and the Gentleman.
At that
Is that
show.
what-
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't
When you
finish that
guys-
story.
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
right. We never finished the damn story. Can I say damn on the radio?
It's not the radio.
Okay.
It's the
That answers
internet.
my
You can
question.
say whatever
can,
you
I
want.
think, but this yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, like so we were all at Owsley's, like going there to check out this other sax player, and Alma was like talking to me, and she's like, yeah, no, this guy sounds great. We should totally hire him. Let's go to the bar and get a beer. And then like I open up the door, and then there stands this guy, Alex Cazet, and he's just like, whoa, I haven't seen you in like
Since
forever.
school, yeah.
Yeah, because we actually went to college together, and it was like pretty brief because
So a few years out.
I graduated May 2015, and like you graduated what 2012?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we hadn't seen each other in like 3 years, and
Mhm.
I always thought that like he was just like insanely super busy, and like I never got to see him because of that. And then like I'm like, okay, just curious, what's your month of June look like? And he
Mhm.
like pulls out his phone. He's like, I've got 3 gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I walk back out to Alma, and I'm like, so this other guy's great, but I've got another guy you should meet. And then
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
bada bing, bada boom, he's in the band.
The rest is history.
Yeah, and then Mark came
Infamy.
in like quite a while.
And then
later.
Yeah.
so like it was me and Matt as the horn section and Lady
Mhm.
and the Gentleman for a while. Mark joined up like a bit later, months down the road, I would say, or maybe even longer than that.
I remember like the first gig where like you were officially in the band was the St. Patty's Day show, right, at the Bull.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
doing like on and off like sit-ins and
Yeah,
gigs
you would
with
like sit
guys,
in with us
but-
like every once in a while, but it wasn't like a surefire thing.
But yeah,
until
then
that
like we
gig,
started
so.
like realizing the chemistry of just the horn section, and then started, applying it to like other projects too, right?
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys. I mean, how many bands do you think? If you had to guess, how many groups as the Mercenary Horns have you played with?
Mm.
As the Mercenary Horns,
Or as you three?
It's
I
not
mean,
a
as
ton.
you.
It's
yeah,
like
it's really not that many. It's like in the
Yeah, like 3.
tens at most.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
forgetting.
yeah,
We did
the
Eminence
things.
Ensemble. Eminence
yeah.
Ensemble, Kessel
Kessel Run.
Run.
Yeah.
Who
Lady and the
else?
Gentleman.
Lady and the
yeah,
Gentleman.
we kind of have to count that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, I didn't mean it like that, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
count that,
sure.
right?
yeah.
Why
Um,
not?
We've done.
We did Max DiVincenzo stuff.
Yeah.
Venus Cruise.
Yeah,
Venus.
Venus Cruise,
So
yeah.
you guys, but you guys have been all over the map, kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
style-wise and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Well, and like most of the work that like we've been doing with just like different projects and stuff like that isn't actually like as Mercenary Horns.
Yeah.
I mean, like we still don't get like nearly as many gigs like with like that
That
specific
moniker, but
trio.
you all just you
as
three.
we'd
yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
like there's a lot of cases where like we'll have a Mercenary Horns gig and then like one of us is gone, so like we got to sub it out or whatever. We do stuff like that all the time. Like
Yeah.
Mark and I just played a thing at Cazet Jack's for the owner's 50th birthday celebration, and yes, I was playing Leonard Skinner on St. Patrick's Day, in case anybody was wondering.
They actually have really great horn players.
well,
Yeah, I know. Leonard
Yeah.
Skinner's horn players are actually really dope. But
Dude, Leonard Skinner, honestly, people make fun of it, but it's like some of their songs, you're like, this band's really sick.
They
Yeah, they
are.
kinda
They
are.
really are.
I mean, yeah, they're
Mhm.
yeah. That's what I'm gonna leave it.
About to reveal, you're like, oh yeah, I got all their vinyl. Like,
yeah. But
Leonard
yeah.
Skinner, check him out.
ripping the skins, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, for for this gig, Alex was on the road with Kessel Run, so we actually like subbed him out. So it technically was the Mercenary Horns,
Yeah.
but like it's a little bit different. So.
Yeah.
And actually on that gig was Nick D'Alessandro, and he killed it. Like he came in at like completely the last second because we'd actually like hired another sax player, and he ended up getting sick at like the very last minute.
Nick's
like
the man.
20 minutes before sound check actually.
Really?
And so like
Yeah,
we
dead
called
serious.
Nick
Oh,
D'Alessandro,
Because I
and
saw
like
you
he
did
just,
a post with Nick, and I was
Yeah.
like, I thought it was gonna be the other guy.
yeah. Like the other guy ended up getting sick like 20 minutes before the
Right.
sound check, and so we called Nick D'Alessandro. Like he was literally our first call, I think.
Yeah.
And he just like dropped everything in order to make the gig happen. So and he did, and he killed it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, he did a great job.
But we do a ton of stuff like that too, and I mean like honestly that's one of the big perks of having the whole like ready-made 3-piece horn section thing is that like if somebody like calls me or Mark or Alex for like horn section work, then like
You guys are like a one-stop shop.
yeah, exactly.
You have to call
Pretty
one of you to
much,
get the
yeah.
entire set. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're the Walmart of horn sections.
No, you're the staples
Oh,
of horn
yes.
section.
That should be our
but,
tagline.
It just makes things like so much more convenient when like
Yeah.
you call one dude and he's like, oh wait, I actually have this like tailor-made horn section that can do basically anything.
Well, then you guys
and-
also, it's good to have that where you're like, you don't
Yeah.
have to like guess chemistry or anything like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
all play together, and like the more you put, the better you're gonna get. You know. So
Yeah,
it's like-
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also the I'm sorry, I didn't mean
No,
to
no.
cut you
keep
off.
going.
But there's also the added benefit of a little bit more pay security too, because there's kind of like the
It's always the best in the music.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's like the understanding that like
Because if you don't pay us, there's 3 of us, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll beat you up.
well, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. That's another perk. But
I would pay money to see
yeah.
that fight. Just now, it's just in so much music. Like, good out of weird.
yeah.
Trying to die tonight, motherfucker.
You can't say that on the radio.
It's not the radio.
Yeah, no, there's the added benefit of like pay security because we kind of have like this understanding across like a 3-piece horn section that like whoever books the gig is in charge of the gig, and then that means that like they get like final say over like what happens with the gig, like how all the like horn parts are arranged and everything like that, and communicating back and forth with like band leaders or band
So
members.
you're all kind of a
Um,
leader gig to gig as it comes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
It,
exactly
it,
how
it
it works.
changes from gig to gig. But then one of the additional responsibilities of you being the dude that books the gigs is if like
Negotiate.
something goes wrong with pay, like with the band leader, band member, or the
You're held
promoter.
responsible.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's up to you to negotiate like with those guys, but in the meantime, you have to pay the other guys out of the pocket.
Is it harder as just a section and not a full band to like get pay? Because I just thought of this now because having played music, and we were just talking about like you think you're gonna get paid this much as the band,
Yeah.
and then the money gets away, the owner's out of town or something like that.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
actually, not really, because most of the things that we do, we talk to the band beforehand, and we call ourselves the Mercenary Horns for a reason because we're hired guns.
Yeah.
We're hired
Yeah,
guns
we're-
for that specific band. So I mean, even if they unfortunately don't get the pay that they're promised, they still pay us out because we're basically private contractors.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always that understanding up front, and then also the big thing that prevents a lot of issues with pay is the fact that we work with people a lot, and like I mean specific bands a lot. So like there's recurring work too. There's always like the added incentive of if I don't pay these guys for this gig, then they're probably not going to show up to my next gig. And if you have us booked for like 3 more gigs down the road, then you're going to want to take
kinda
care of your
screwing yourself.
dudes, like pretty quickly.
Right.
And we're also like pretty flexible with like the whole pay timeline and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
like if it takes like 2 weeks or whatever, it's happened before.
We're all
yeah.
No one's made of money in the music industry.
Yeah, I think the longest one was like 6 months. That was
Really?
ridiculous.
What
Oh,
happened?
you know what? No. It was actually the recording session that Mark and I did with Todd Snyder.
We still haven't seen the pay for that, actually.
Really?
Yeah, we haven't
Yeah.
gotten paid for that yet.
Shout out Todd Snyder.
Well, I mean, we were told that like we would get paid once the album comes out, but the album still hasn't come out.
Yeah.
So
It's not like that guy's like crunched for. He's like,
Yeah,
It's like I guess I'll
Yeah.
just tour with Railroad. Like,
yeah. I mean, it was a cool recording session, and like,
I heard. Yeah,
yeah.
when we were at this, when we were at Silo, Todd was telling me about that.
yeah, because Silo was where we
Yeah, he was
recorded
like,
it. Yeah,
I guess
Mhm.
Todd was like, I'm just gonna go, and I'm gonna yell in the room for a little bit. Is that cool? And Todd's like, sure. You want me to record it? And he's like, I guess. It's just it's like I kind of wish sometimes that I was. I don't know if you guys ever think this, where you like see like crazy like artists who are just like super eccentric and everything like that, and you're like, wish I had a little bit more of that in my life. Like that would be, that would be a little more interesting then.
I think we're
That's why I'm
crazy
here.
enough as it is. Yeah, I think we freak people out plenty.
Not even the playing, just generally. No,
Yeah,
I'm
just in
kidding.
general, you know.
Would you say that Todd Snyder thing was one of your favorite sessions?
I'd say it was definitely one of the better ones.
Yeah.
But
What would you say individually or as a group?
Yeah.
What your favorite sessions have been?
Boy, that's a tough one.
the Matty O'Neill one was really
yeah,
cool.
we just did a recording session with Matty O'Neill. It was
Mhm.
Matt, myself, and Nick Gerlach, and because they play with Michael Minert and the Pretty Fantastics,
Yeah, myself and Nick.
and Matt and I play with Late Night Radio's live band, and we also just did a gig with Sodown at the Ogden. So
that must
where
have
we,
been
uh,
crazy.
it was
Oh, dude, it was.
really great.
And like they were nice enough to give Mark and I souvenir posters from it. And the poster measures 14 inches by 25 and a half inches, and I can't find a frame for this thing anywhere. So it's just like sitting rolled up in my
I
room.
think you're the only
so-
person who gets like a regular poster, and you're like, "Where's the frame?" Like,
I think
this is bullshit.
my
what do you say, Alex?
my favorite in recent memory might have been the last Intuit record. Canyon
Oh yeah,
Ridge,
that is a good record.
Yeah.
because
it is.
I like compose most of the horn parts like in the studio, but like it was all flowing really well, and we did it at E-Town with John Gold as the engineer, and I don't know, I don't think I've been as happy with my tone as I was working with him
Isn't that the best?
ever. Yeah,
Did he
it
do
was
the
yeah,
two
great.
microphone thing where like he
Yeah.
records like one up by the mouthpiece and then like one
Yeah.
down?
He
Yeah.
Wait,
had
what?
one like
Mhm.
directional mic
Yeah.
pointed at the neck of my sax, which would capture more of like the airiness and the breath, and he was able to like mix that in with like a room mic.
Mhm.
It
Dude, I
was really
swear,
cool.
engineers are like modern day mad scientists.
Yeah,
sometimes.
totally.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing about like the saxophone is it's actually not a directional instrument, so the sound doesn't come out of the bell. I mean, like some of it does,
Mhm.
but really
Most
very
of it's
very
coming out
little.
the keys.
Yeah, it all comes
Yeah.
out the keys. So like if you break it up into like sections
Then
like
why
that,
is
you're
it-
gonna
is
get a
it-
more accurate
So
representation.
why do you then put the microphone in? We're gonna go down this tangent for a second. Why do you put the microphone in the bell then? The
just for
bowl?
efficiency, I think. At least that's what I'm
Well, I mean,
led to
Is
believe.
that like
like-
cast a big net kind of thing.
Well,
in a
I've
way,
also
or-
noticed that like a lot of dudes, like when they play into a microphone. I mean, Alex, you might do this a little bit
Mhm.
differently, but like you don't play with like the microphone pointing into your bell. Like the microphone is tilted upwards so that like it's actually pointing over the bell and then like towards the keys above it.
Okay.
And I think it might also have
So-
to do with like when you're playing live, you want it like closer, I guess, because like the way he was doing it in the studio, it was like far away. I think like the gain would be an issue, or like feedback if you have the mic too far from the horn, you need like the gain really high.
He pulled the microphone away from his face as an example.
Yeah, sorry, everybody, if you missed that.
Yeah. It's a very visual interview today. No.
Yeah. You guys are really missing a whole lot without the
Mhm.
facial
Ah, it's great.
expressions.
We're
I
all-
mean, you're missing a ton.
Yeah,
I also
we're all
don't have any
naked,
clothes
but-
on.
So you
Why
mentioned
is it
just
so hot
socks
in
and
here? It's
shoes.
just sticky.
you
Oh no, socks and Crocs. That's what we're wearing.
socks, dude. I wear socks and stocks, socks and Birkenstocks.
I played a private party for the owner of Crocs once, and everyone in the band got a free pair of Crocs.
That's
but they were
cool.
like size 13, so
Wait,
Oh, give them to
can't
me.
wait.
I'm a size 13.
They gave you free
Yeah,
pairs of Crocs,
like a
but
blanket size, like size 13s. for
that's the
everyone.
dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No,
They're
give
like,
them
"Yeah,
to me.
no,
I'm a
bud,
size
this-
13 shoe.
Wait, you played a private party for the guy who owns Crocs?
Yeah.
What's he like?
I don't think I didn't get to meet.
Is he like?
him.
If he
I
like?
mean, I
a-
can't say that his
her.
taste in shoes is all that
I was
great.
gonna say, if Crocs were a person, is he them? Just like kind of quirky and
He's a crocodile, actually.
he's. Boo.
I don't think I got to meet him actually.
I remember someone was saying that.
But everybody there was wearing Crocs. Every single
I think
person.
you
kind of
have to.
Yeah.
yeah, it's part of
And they
probably
have like
required.
Crocs too. They're not just the goofy green like half boot, half slipper thing. There's like some classy ones, like some like knee-high boots for ladies and like all kinds of sexy
Are you
Crocs.
sponsored by Crocs?
Sexy Crocs.
By
He is
Crocs.
now.
Hey, by the way, I have this
them.
promo code if you type.
Yeah.
So getting back on some resemblance of topic, the you mentioned like late night radio and the soda and the electronic stuff
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
have been doing, and like again, that just makes me think like you played with such all of you played with such like a wide breadth of music. When you get a gig
Breath.
that
Mm.
that is when you get a gig
Haven't
that's like
slept.
not exactly
Go on, Tyler.
Go on, boss. Your story's gripping me.
So, is it how I guess the real root of it is, do you ever have to pretend you're like really into the music, or like is there any level of like, say you get a gig, like, hired for a gig and you like don't like the music, do you then have to kind of be like, oh no, this is great, or are you just like, I'm just here to get paid? Like, where's the line you draw of like kind of feigning interest, if there is anything?
Ho ho! So Tyler's looking right at me, and this is because
I'm just you're in the middle. I'm not just like calling you
Yeah.
out right now.
well, no,
Because
like
you're the hardest to read out of any of us.
but
Alex I just didn't want him to
yeah.
sleep. So it's,
we actually had like this same conversation a
I
couple
know,
days
I
ago.
brought it up
at-
because
at
I was like, we talked
Cervantes,
about
yeah.
it, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, kind of the same answer as like what I said before. I mean, like, you know, we play tons of different styles, but we also listen to a ton of different styles too. So there's really not like any single genre that like, you know, we don't like. And I mean, as far as bands goes, I mean, you can always feel when it's killing. I mean, like when everything just like lines up and like the feeling is there. I mean, it's like a jolt of electricity throughout the
No, it's the
entire band.
best.
Yeah, and that kind of thing, like, you know, transcends genres and stuff like that. So it's not really limited to that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think for me, like, as I've gotten older, I like focus more on just like doing a good job, and less about forming opinions on what I'm doing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there's
like,
a lot of
yeah,
opinions.
I mean,
you
like
can form that get in the way.
I spent
Yeah.
years only like playing very rare, like sparsely, and not doing a large variety of stuff because like I didn't want to do things I didn't like, basically.
Well, there's a
Um,
little bit. You kind of have to
yeah.
do that a little bit, don't you? You think?
Yeah.
You have
Oh,
to have some
definitely.
level of like, no, that I do. I like know what I want to do.
Yeah,
You
and I
know?
think I'm lucky
especially
enough.
in music.
Yeah, I'm lucky
Yeah.
enough to be able to do things these days that is like I'm like really psyched about. Which
What
is
do you
awesome.
What are you psyched about? These like what's coming up that you're psyched about?
What's coming up is on the 30th of this month, like Mama Magnolia, which is the
Oh,
band
that's
that
right,
I'm
the
in
Youth Orchestra gig,
full-time.
right?
Yeah, that's gonna be great.
We're doing like a big show at
Bluebird,
the
right?
Bluebird, yeah, with Youth Orchestra and Malima. Is that how you say that?
Malima, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Malima.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's Jessica Jones' band.
so that
Oh,
kind
okay.
of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
One of her 13
Yeah.
bands.
She's,
I
she's
get
all
to
over the
play-
place, dude. I feel like I see her.
She's got a
every-
lot.
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
she does more shows than you guys are sometimes.
She's a really
Is
powerful
that a
singer, too.
challenge?
No.
Yeah. I just
remember-
think I just feel lucky like I get to play music that challenges me with musicians who I look up to, and that is
Mhm.
what keeps me going.
Damn, that's beautiful.
Yeah, thank
yeah,
you.
amen.
That's gorgeous. Can we put
Yeah.
that on a plaque?
You can put on a
Can I
t-shirt.
get
I'm gonna
the
put
plaque?
it right above my
Yeah.
toilet.
Can the plaque be sized 14 inches by 25.5 inches?
And can I use it as a frame?
I get to poop on toilets that challenge me with toilets that I look up to.
Dude, sometimes some venues are like, it's like this one at the Cervantes. I don't know why I'm gonna bring this up, but like the Cervantes other side.
Oh,
the
the
toilet.
Cervantes throne? Yeah.
Oh.
I like
it's
liter-
like 6 inches off the
No,
ground.
it's like
Yeah.
a foot off the ground.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
it's
yeah,
high
you're
off
right,
the
yeah.
ground.
I'm like, every time
Yeah.
I'm in there, I'm like, why?
I get vertigo when I put it in there.
Were they just like, we got extra wood, like we might as well.
Might as well boost up this toilet.
We could put a door down here. I'm not liking what you're looking at. Oh my god. Yeah, the other side's fucking good. That's probably one of my favorite venues in Colorado.
It
Yeah,
really
we're-
is a
we're
great
there,
venue.
like,
Yeah.
every week.
You're there
at
literally
this
every like
point,
2
yeah.
days, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I-
Well, there's just so much good
There was
music.
one week when like I was there like 3 times in a week. That did happen once,
How'd
but
that-
like
Yeah.
that was only once. Most of the time we're there like, you know, at least every
Gotta
couple
start
weeks.
paying
like,
rent,
mostly
man.
every
Yeah,
half
somewhere
week
around
or
there.
something.
They're on salary.
There's such- yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about Denver is it's such an interesting music scene and how it's coming up
Oh,
and
it's
how
crazy.
quickly it's changing. Based on like Matt and I read like a bunch of musician biographies, and it reminds me a lot.
Yeah, our bookshelves are
like,
full of them.
Yeah, and it reminds me a lot of like what was going on in New York and the jazz scene at the time. There's just
Really, you think it's like
And like the
yeah,
40s and the
there's-
50s and stuff like that, where there's like this mass influx of people coming into like one specific area. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, anywhere in the
Um,
Midwest was like where the jazz scene was, and now it seems to like, and not it's not just jazz. It's just like every single type of music that you can possibly think of is in this state.
well, at least every like major band, at least one member lives in Denver. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
You know, it's crazy, and it's
Like it.
it's
Yo-
cool having been to like. Granted, I only moved here like 5-6 years ago, but having seen like the kind of same stuff you have, and it's kind of weird being from like having been here for a long time and have that like, oh man, like all these outsiders coming in and stuff like that. But it's cool because it's actually way more welcoming.
Yeah,
It's really nice, and
No,
like
it totally is, and I remember. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off there. So a long time ago, I actually worked a call center job for the University of Colorado, where like I was the dude that like called everybody and like hit them up for cash donations and stuff like that,
oh my
and
God,
everybody
I would have loved
uniformly
getting called from you.
hated me.
Now you don't
Um,
get so many gigs.
Yeah.
Hi, my name, hi, I'm calling on behalf of the Mercenary Horns. Can you have a minute of your time? All right, no.
Like I remember I called this one dude who like went to music school at CU Boulder, and like that's what they had me do, was they had me like call all like the music alumni and stuff
Yeah.
like that, because obviously I was in the music school and I was like way better at it than like any of the other dudes that were working there because they weren't in the music school. And I called this one guy and he moved to Chicago, and I was like, you know, kind of halfway thinking about like moving to Chicago at that point in time, because like I'd known like a ton of awesome trumpet players that have come out of there. I mean, DePaul University is like renowned for like their brass programs.
And the guys from Chicago actually came from DePaul. All of the guys from Chicago came from DePaul.
He means Chicago, the band, not the city.
No, I know. Yeah, I know who Chicago is.
Yeah. I just want to make sure, you know. Yeah,
I was literally just waiting if I was gonna make like a no, really, Chicago's from Chicago, but like
oh no way. Okay, Chicago's actually from Nantucket.
the whole band.
Not Sheboygan.
Hey, do you like Chicago?
Yeah, but like I was talking to this dude who had like moved to Chicago, and like I was like, you know, how's the music scene out there? Because I'm kind of halfway thinking about like moving out there. And he's like, honestly, I would just move to Denver and like stay there. And I'm like, really? Why? And he goes, well, because there's so much music already in this city that if you're trying to start up a new project, then people are significantly less receptive to new stuff than they are in Colorado.
Really?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, come to find out, like, you know, 4 or 5 years later, he was absolutely right.
It's insane what the scene is like.
Yeah. Because there's so many people like moving to the state at such a rapid pace that it always brings in like this influx of people with vastly different experiences and ideas about how music is supposed to work. And for some reason, when like you see that with like a lot of other like major established cities that do have a lot of music, then they're not receptive to new ideas. But Denver's pretty different in that case.
So would you say it's do you ever think there's going to be a level of like it just gets too many people? Do you think that could exist?
Oh,
That
I'm,
there's, like-
I'm sure it'll get there at some
Yeah,
point.
it'll get there at some point, but there's always going to be at least around here, I think there's always going to be something that you know, I think if it gets oversaturated here, it's going to move somewhere else.
Yeah, and
Des
I think we
Moines.
might see that at like
Bozeman, Montana.
I think we
Shout
might
out
see that at
Bozeman.
like
Carney.
the tail end of like our lifetimes or something like that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's not in the near future.
Well,
No, not
It's
at all.
definitely not.
hopefully the end of our lifetime isn't in the near future either.
No.
That's very true. I still haven't hit the big old age of 27 yet, so I could be part of that club. You never know.
Well, wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
Don't die.
You know, or do. I don't know if that's what you want. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you.
Dude, live your best life or
Yeah.
don't, I guess. Well, so we're going to wrap this up, but I want to talk first. What's coming up for you guys? Do you have any shows coming up? You have March 30th at the Bluebird with Mom Magnolia.
Yes, and also this weekend I'll be opening for Carl Denson's
Denson.
Colonel Denson's Tiny Universe.
And the Works are there too, right?
Yes,
That's in Longmont?
yes. With Kessel Run is the band I'm playing with there.
Oh, are we on that gig?
Are you guys?
I don't know. I haven't heard
hopefully.
anything.
This is how it usually goes.
How
It's
often is
like,
that
oh, man.
sentence? Hey, am I on that gig?
Actually, like 90% of the gigs.
Well, although then there's always the Casey shows or our shows even where it's just you guys show and we're like, yeah, sure, if I can get on stage, just figure this out.
Yeah.
Well, there was a point in time when like I would find out what gigs I had booked by Facebook, like people posting events on Facebook because they didn't tell
Tagging
me
you.
about it.
Oh, thank God for Facebook. I had no idea
Yeah.
where I'm going
Yeah.
half the time.
Like it used to be that like I would find out all of my gigs like that because nobody would tell me anything, and I
You should
just see
have a
something show
fee.
up on
You should
Facebook.
have a fee for that. Like, if I find out about the gig on Facebook, it's an extra, X amount of dollars.
Yeah, but that's not really a problem anymore.
Yeah, I know.
he has
I'm just
control.
joking.
Oh,
What about for you
my.
guys? What are you guys doing? What's coming up for you guys?
We got a couple things actually. We're heading out to Avon to play with Jay Wales live band, who has like
Vince Herman, isn't he part of that? Or is that not that?
Yeah,
Jay
there
Will?
Vince. He said he got Vince Herman on that gig.
Yeah.
We're also doing with Casey
And
Russell.
Chuck Morris from Lotus too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be a really cool gig. We also got the Drunken Hearts CD release too.
That's gonna be at Globe Hall on the
Isn't
30th.
Todd Schaefer playing that show?
Oh, you guys are on that
Yeah,
one?
he is. He is. They just announced that he's gonna be on that gig.
Well, wait, Todd Schaefer
third-
or Todd Snyder? Because we were talking
Schaefer.
about Snyder.
No, Todd Schaefer.
Oh, is it Todd Schaefer? Yeah,
Yeah, it's
just,
Todd
he's
Schaefer.
on the gig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Todd
yeah.
Schaefer's
Yeah.
on the gig.
Is that the
then-
31st?
That's the 30th. At Globe
30th?
Hall. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
Are
guess
they
we're not
playing
on
the
that
next
gig.
night too?
They're doing Washington's too, right?
Yeah, but I don't think we're on that one.
Yeah, that
You
one.
guys
we're
have
not.
any yet?
I mean, if we are, we haven't been told about it, so there is a
Check
possibility.
Facebook, man.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, and then we also ran into a couple of the dudes from The Works last night, and
Yeah.
they invited us to come sit in with them on Friday at Ophelia's. So I guess by the time that this thing gets published, that gig may already be over. So
Yeah.
Oh, I'm never publishing this.
And then there's also
you can't say that on the
we're-
radio.
We're
Not
also
radio.
playing. We're also playing with a producer who's on Michael Minert's record label, Sush Roswell,
yeah,
at
Sush
Lost
Roswell.
Lake on the 24th, and then I'm playing with Metropolitan Jazz Orchestra on April 3rd.
Where's that?
It's going to be at a high school, Palmer High School, I think, in Parker.
yeah, in Parker, Colorado, or something.
Yeah, in Parker. So doing that one, and there's a bunch of stuff coming up with another band we're in, neo soul band MMA's in the Hip.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of stuff coming up for
Yeah,
them.
we do.
A lot of stuff in April.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
post all this. Just
Yeah.
all these.
We've also got like a couple really cool dates with Jive Tribe coming up in.
Oh, you got
in
your
May.
the Jaunty show with them?
I'm not sure if that's the 12th. Then yeah,
I think that is. It's,
Yeah, if it's
Like May 12th, is that what you're saying?
April 12th.
it's like,
April 12th. Okay.
isn't it? It's at Cervantes, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Just looking at that.
I'm on that gig.
I
Yeah.
might be on that gig. I'll have to check.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
well,
See, this is the problem. It's a whole bunch of like, I might.
Well, that's
be,
the thing.
Yeah.
You just bring your horn with you everywhere, and you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other nice thing is like I don't have to like do a whole lot for load in because I'm just like carrying one thing. Yeah. I know. I'm
lucky.
talking to a drummer and you
I
hate me right
know.
now.
It's
But
like try to talk to a girl and be like,
yeah.
"Hey, want to wait for an hour?"
yeah, but it also means that I can just like kind of float in the door or whatever.
Exactly. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for being here.
Hey,
Thanks
Dude,
for
thanks for
having
having us. Yeah,
it's a
fun.
pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
I'll probably see you at a show.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll probably see you tomorrow at Cervantes.
Thanks for
Yeah.
thanks for having us on the radio.
It's not the radio.
It is.
It is the radio.